Welcome in everyone. Today's video we're going to be doing a trade recap on AMD. So this was a call out. It was a free call out on Twitter and in Discord as well for October 23rd, 2023. So let's get started. I'm going to go over the actual call out. I'm going to go over the flow and kind of how I found my entry a little bit too, and go over the contract movement of the how the contracts moved. So let's get started here. So obviously today, this morning, you can see we had AMD 101, 102 call less than 99.35, and we did actually adjust this to, for those a little newer to trading my watch list, I do like about $1 to nothing less than about 70 cents per contract. I mean, you want good movement, but you don't want to pay a lot for them, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. So again, we had our entry at 99.35, and again, this was a free call out on Twitter as well, which I will pull up here. So yep, again, here we go. So 7:57 this morning. No editing, none of that nonsense. So again, clear call outs. We did adjust on Twitter. I'm not going to pull that one up again. If you really care that much, feel free to go back and look. But so this was our entry. So this is how I came up with the idea. So every night when I do post this, I always pay attention to the flow analysis that I post. So I really like to dive into the flow here and kind of see what's bullish in the overall flow. So I mean there are flow alerts and all that. So I mean I like looking at the overall flow so I can get an idea of what everybody is thinking versus a flow alert which can just be one person. So I'm gonna actually have the flow saved here. So I mean this was part of it here. I mean you got a bunch of bid side puts here coming in, and believe I have one more as well. Yep. So we'll start with this one. This was a little earlier here. So, I mean, you got somebody rolling some calls here and buying to open an order here. So, I mean, you can easily tell that. I mean, 90, there's only 119 on volume here. So, I mean, with only 46 open interest. So, I mean, this person's opening something. And you also had these 105 calls come in and this flow alert. And this flows from Friday too, just FYI for everybody. This wasn't the 23rd. This is from the 20th, as you can see here. So flow alert that came in there. So let's get back to the top one. And I apologize there because I did not have that one saved. So that was a little sloppy. But so this was the big one that stuck out to me here, as you can see. Flow alert coming in, bunch of bid side puts, and you're looking at that volume and then comparing it to the open interest. This is a whale that opened this trade. They were probably selling puts. So that's kind of where I got the idea with the flow there a little bit. So let's look at the actual trades. So if you remember, so entry was 99.35. So here is our entry, and I'm going to show everybody the contract movement too, just so you can get an idea. So here's 99.35. This is, I mean, this is what I try to aim for is accuracy here. So I mean, 3 cents lower. I mean, that's pretty spot on, I would say. And look at this movement up. I actually ended up getting stopped out in here, but that's fine. I mean, the chances of exiting the top here are very, very slim. But so this is kind of the overall movement of AMD on the day. I mean, finished back down. And of course, we scratched after this nice entry. So let's look at the actual contract. So this is the 104. So this is our time. So actually, let me bring this back here. So look at the time we triggered in. I'm Central Time. This is 8:47 a.m. Central. So moving on over here to the contract. So this is 104. Look at this. About 78, and I'm just marking the lowest point here. I mean, I got filled at 80. No big deal. I mean, roughly very close there. So, I mean, we'll say 78. And I mean, look at the movement of this contract. This is a very easy, beautiful trade. I mean, we're back up at 114 here, and this did actually top out at 145 on the day. So if you look at that, that is actually an 85% return top end, which again, you're not going to exit at the top. I mean, exiting in here at 103, I mean, 0.78 to 103, I mean, that is a 32% return on interest in less than 15 minutes. I mean, that is a very good return. I'd like to say I look for that 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So 20%, risk 10%, not bad. And I mean, you're not getting stopped out on this. I mean, there's not even a chance to get stopped out on this trade unless you, for some reason, held all the way through this and brought this down, which everybody in my group is, I mean, that's not happening. So I mean, unless you are just out of it and just not paying attention, but this is something that should not happen to anybody. You would not want, if you're up at 100 or $1.42 a contract and watch it disintegrate 50% there from the top. That's not good. That is, you need to take a step back, breathe, and kind of understand how contracts move. The nicest way of saying it. So that is the 104 call. So let's look at the 103. So again, here's your roughly entry. I mean, I'd say 111 here. So you get in at 111, and our top end return here was 188. So we look at that, and again, that's 69%, 70% there, give or take, depending on what you get in on. And again, same situation as the 104 call. You see this huge run up on the contracts. This, you do not let this turn red. I mean, you wouldn't even let a 15% trade turn red. You can't let something that's up over 50, 60% turn red. That is not good trading. So, but let's look at AMD one last time here. So I mean, again, you can see our entry, nice run up, and I mean, contracts kind of decreased in value here. So you see that big spike in value on the contracts there because of IV. So I'll show another nice example here. Let me go back to the 104s. So you see AMD selling off, and everybody is like, I want puts, I want puts. So puts become a little more pricey. We hit the brakes here at 847. Now I want to pull this chart back up. And I mean, we got a pretty big bounce there, but even if you would have seen just a little chop here coming up, contracts would have slowly been increasing in value, even if we're just chopping because the implied volatility on the puts is dropping. So another good example of how IV works. But yeah, so yeah, roughly top end return on the 104 calls, 85%, and the 103 calls about 70% ish. So I mean, give or take, I mean, not bad, but otherwise that is, I just kind of want to do a little trade recap for everybody. I'm going to try to get these out again as much as possible as time permits. But that is all I have for everybody today, and I hope everybody made some money on this one. Have a great day. Bye.